New to this year for our Schoology page is the ability to add assessments. This is a newer feature that Schoology has been starting to implement that is going to eventually replace the tests and quizzes, but currently tests and quizzes aren't going anywhere. So if we go to our week 2 folder in our sample class, we can see that we have our sample assessment setup. Again, if I hit the gear icon, this is where I can change the name, set the date, enable or disable submissions. New to assessments that's different than most features is also the ability to add a password if you need extra security. Category, grading period, weighting, scale if you want to grade it via numeric or any of the grade setup scales that you have, and also individually assign. Standard features across the board. What makes assessments unique is that the features that they have is a little more expansive than a test or a quiz. But there are drawbacks. So let's go over the basic setup. You're going to be prompted with setup, instructions. This is where you get your rich text editor along with the assessment settings. So assessments, you can set a time limit, just like a test or a quiz. You can randomly set up the questions for the order in which they're set, but you cannot import a test or a question bank into an assessment. And that's a key feature if you are trying to pull multiple different types of questions or utilize textbook features. Assessments have to be solely built out from a teacher. Also, if you want to show a point value, that's there. Let's just make this a little bigger. Features that an assessment has that a test or a quiz does not is students can flag questions. So they will be presented with a question one at a time, and they have the ability to flag a question. They can eliminate answer choices. If you have a multiple choice or other word banks, they can go and eliminate. You can add calculators for basic tasks or a scientific calculator if they need it. You can add a ruler, you can add a protractor. Students can highlight text in it, and they can also create a notepad. So if they're making notes throughout and they want to answer a set of questions, they have more features than a typical test or quiz does. Also on the student setting, allow students to view results after an attempt is submitted. That's familiar to us if they want to see it or if they have the correct answers or no, you don't want them to see it. Additionally, there is a cap on the number of attempts students can do on a assessment versus a test or a quiz. You can set that to unlimited. So if that's something that would change your mind about how you would use one or the other, it's worth noting that if you're allowing students to do multiple attempts on something, this is capped at 20. You can also set it to be either the latest grade or the highest score. Once you're done, we're going to hit the save button for any saved changes. It will give you a green icon that says success. And now let's get into the big difference between a test or a quiz. And that goes to the options that you can add to the assessment. So the first one is add text. If you want to give instructions or change how you want the students to engage with the assessment, they can. You get your standard multiple choice, true, false, matching, ordering. Now we get into slightly more in-depth ones. Fill in the blank text, fill in the blank drop down, and then fill in the blank drag and drop. I will provide a link from Schoology's website that gives you detailed explanation how to add each one of these if you're curious. The ones that may interest more of our teachers that a test and quiz just doesn't have the option to is if you want the students to provide an audio response, you can. I can imagine if you asked a prompt for a Spanish class and you ask them, describe your day in the present tense, you can just have an audio question. They can record it. You can hear it back. It's all in one location. Similarly, you can have them add a video and add a file. So if you did not want to have them go through the rich text editor like the test or quiz, and you just wanted to say, given this document, complete it, return it back, you can use the assessment feature to just utilize the file upload. Last ones, which are more similar to, I could imagine like a social studies class, is if you want them to label an image or highlight hotspots, highlight an image, all of these new types of tasks you're able to do. You can also do math short answer questions where they have to type in all of their work, and then they could also answer questions on a number line or things that you want to do with a chart. These question types, some are available in Test and Quiz, but most of them are brand new. And this assessment tool is being built out as the year goes on. So Schoology is planning to add more features to this as the year progresses and the next couple years go on. So there may be the ability to add a question bank, but currently that, for me, is one of the biggest drawbacks. If we go to grading, this is where you'll see all of your students' work. If you want to see their live progress, if anyone's working on something or a time spent, and then the reporting feature. So this will give you your data on what your students worked on. The one other difference that I want to highlight with a test or a quiz is that you cannot pull any question in outside of what you build here. So you cannot share these between teachers, or you can't share question banks or shared information between teachers or classes. Everything that's made here is what you own currently. So they're not very portable. So it's something to think about as we move forward with creating our resources for our courses.